to my channel. It's been a while. I know it's been a while. A lot of people have been hitting me up, when are you gonna do your videos? You could have been so much farther than you were. And I'm just like, life got in the way, things changed. I moved. I wasn't at home anymore with my parents. So, a lot of change. And the biggest change and the biggest blessing of that change is I am a mommy now. Yay for me. And that's what this video is actually going to be about, talking about my pregnancy and talking about how, I feel that we need to talk more about pregnancy, especially Black women's pregnancies, because I had a high-risk pregnancy. I was told I was going to die while giving childbirth, so I really just wanted to address that, about, how my pregnancy went and how, we need more Black doctors. we need more Black doctors. That's basically, we need more Black doctors. To start off saying, I love motherhood. I love my daughter. She's everything to me. She's gorgeous. She's perfect. I just love seeing her little smile, her little kicks. When she sits up, I just love it. At times, I'm just like, oh my God, go to sleep. But that's normal. It's normal to feel tired. It's normal to feel frustrated. Don't think, because you think these things while being a mother, it's wrong. Because, people try to make it seem that because you're a mother, you don't have feelings and you can't feel a certain type of way. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. Because there are times where I get frustrated. There are times where I just feel like, oh my God, like, what am I doing wrong? Am I raising her right? It's a lot of factors. But everything you feel while going through motherhood, it's completely normal. Trust me. And I wear my emotions on my sleeve. So being pregnant, it was a wrap. Like, my emotions, I'm already that type of person. Like, you can't just talk crazy to me. So pregnant, it was just like I felt like the whole world was picking at me. And some people were. I'm not gonna lie. Some people were. They were trying to pick at me because I was pregnant. And yeah, don't try to pick at me. But honestly, I love my daughter. She's just everything to me. She saved a lot of people from me, and she saved me from myself. So I'm forever grateful for her. And I also heard that saying, they always said, if you have a boy first, it's because you needed to experience real love in your life. And if you had a girl first, it's because you lacked maturity and you needed to grow up. And honestly, when I found out I was pregnant, I just knew I was having a girl first because I've experienced real love before. So I just knew, like, sometimes I would react to things. I would react to a lot of things, and I just knew, I needed to grow up, and I felt like she was sent to me to do that, and I'm grateful for it. So let's dive in. First trimester was kicking my ass. It kicked my ass. I was fortunate enough not to throw up, because women who constantly do throw up, some people do lose their teeth, unfortunately. Pregnancy, it's a lot. The acidity of the throw up kind of decays your teeth, so that's how some people lose their teeth. So, excuse me. I personally threw up 4 times throughout my whole pregnancy. 3 times was because I ate something that I was craving, and sis was like, no, we don't really like that. Throw it back up. And then the 4th one was in the first trimester. I had these terrible migraines. I guess that was like my morning sickness. It wasn't, and I didn't even get sick in the morning. I got sick at night. I had these migraines where I had to sit in the dark, lay in the dark in my room. It had to be completely dark. It had to be cold. The TV couldn't be on. My phone, don't call me. I couldn't hear any sounds like that. My migraines were terrible, 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 terrible. I hated them. I also was high risk. I was high risk because I had so many factors. I was high risk when I first found out I was pregnant. They were telling us that they think I was going to miscarry because the baby's heartbeat wasn't as strong as she needed to be each time we went into the doctor. It was very weak. It wasn't beating as fast. And sometimes they couldn't even find the heartbeat. So they had wrote me off like, we think you're going to miscarry. I was, I wasn't a mother yet, but it was kind of like maternal instincts came in. I was worried. I was just like, miscarry? No, like, I don't want to miscarry. I want to meet, at the time, we didn't know what we were having, but I called her her, not it. I called her her. Like, I just knew I was having a girl. And I already had my daughter's name, so I was like, I know I'm having a girl. That's just what it is. So that, I was bleeding during the first trimester. So they put me on cervix rest, couldn't have sex. My cervix was actually short, and then come along, like maybe in the second trimester, I dilated 2 centimeters already. And then I was anemic and I didn't even know, but that's later on. They told me later on. This is where it gets funny. So that was like the first trimester, but then her heartbeat finally got strong, so it was like great, amazing. um they tested the baby and myself and her father for, any chromosome diseases, anything like that. I don't really remember the names, guys, because I had her last year, so she's gonna be 8 months, so it's kind of like a blur, but I'm gonna try to explain as much as I can. I don't remember. We got tested, and it was something that I got tested at, and I didn't have it, but it was something in her dad's test that she had, and this was at the high risk doctor. This is okay. Before I go into that, I wanted to have a black doctor. The black doctor that I went to originally for like my first appointment, she was an older Caribbean lady. She was really sweet, really amazing, but she was a little too far from my house, and I was pregnant at the time. I was honestly really tired. I didn't want to drive all the time. I didn't want to commute all the time to the doctor's appointment. So, they had sister locations, and the sister location was another black doctor, but she was pregnant, and it wasn't like small pregnant, like she was big pregnant. So we only had maybe two appointments before she went into labor. Well, she took early leave, and then that was that. So I was seeing her nurse practitioner, I believe, at her office, which was a white lady. She seemed nice, but it was my first pregnancy. I didn't really know too much. So she, when I came in, she didn't check my pee. I come to find out, like, you had to pee every time. They had to check your blood work. She didn't do none of that. They didn't do none of that. They just took my height, my weight, sent me back into the room, check the baby's heartbeat. Do you have any questions? No, not really. Okay, send me on back my day. That was that. For my first child, I didn't know any better. So I was just thinking, okay, maybe this is normal. I never said anything to anyone. We thought it was normal. So that's that. So when they did, get the test for the chromosomes and all that, they ended up sending me to the high-risk doctor because, like I said, I was bleeding, this, that, and the third. Mind you, it was like an older white man. And when he was just like, oh, this test that came back, your baby came back positive, you could only find it in Cajun people or Jewish. I'm not Jewish. My daughter's dad's not Jewish. So, but he's from New Orleans, so Cajun, so that made sense. And he was just like, yeah, if you want us to terminate the pregnancy, we can. And it just kind of seemed like he was pushing for me to like terminate my pregnancy, like this would be the best decision. I don't even remember what the fucking illness was or whatever that she had a risk of having. He was just like, yeah, she tested for it. That doesn't mean she'll have it, but it's a 50-50 chance. And yeah, you don't want to have that. And I was just kind of looking at him like, bitch, did I tell you I wanted to abort my child? Like, I didn't tell you that, so why are you pressing for that? Like, I felt like maybe that's how he would have got more money from me, but bitch, I didn't tell you I wanted to abort my child, so I didn't like that. I spoke to my best friend, and she had high-risk doctor. Mind you, me and my best friend were both pregnant at the same time, had the same due date. She was due May 15th, I was due May 16th. So, and she was a great support system. Shout out to her. She was the best. So she told me about her high-risk doctor, and I told my doctor about it, and it was like, okay, that's fine. We got to see if they have any availability. So boom. I ended up, going to that high-risk doctor. They were way better and, checking up on me. Okay, so I started going to her high-risk doctor instead. They were way better, way nicer. They checked everything, cool. Moving on to the second trimester. Second trimester, it was a breeze. Stopped getting the migraines as much. I could eat whatever I wanted to eat. Mind you, I became like a pescatarian, however you call it. I didn't even know this. Like, all I ate literally during my pregnancy was seafood. I was always craving seafood. I wanted conch, I wanted octopus, I wanted clams, I wanted oysters, everything. I ate everything seafood. Like, I loved it. And then I weirdly craved cereal. I don't know. It's like I crave cereal, noodles, but mainly seafood. Here or there, I'd have pizza, but seafood, loved it. I always loved seafood before pregnancy, but during the pregnancy, that's all I really wanted to eat, and I wanted it spicy too. So second trimester, easy breezy. I wasn't as tired. I wasn't as energetic as I was because I'm a very upbeat, energetic person. I wasn't as energetic, but I had my energy back where I wasn't tired all the time. So second trimester was great. Moving on to the third trimester. this is where, okay, second trimester is when I dilated. I dilated 2 centimeters. So the doctor was, my high risk doctor, they were worried. They was just kind of like, yeah, so, since you're dilating now, they definitely thought I was going to go into preterm labor. So they was just going to keep an eye out on me. So this happened in January of 2020. COVID came around in March. So we're going to move to March. The high risk doctor basically said they're minimizing people coming into their office because of COVID. So this was going to be my last doctor's appointment. So there was just like, but if anything happens, just go to the hospital, and that's that. I was just kind of like, and that's another thing I want to address. It felt like when COVID came, doctors could have gave 2 fucks. And I completely understand, everybody wants to minimize this. Nobody wants to have the shit. Nobody knew where it came from or what it really was. But the fact that I was big pregnant, and they basically told me, well, you can't just come here no more. Just go to your regular doctor if anything happens. And I'm like, but they sent me to y'all. So that was just something said. COVID came around. High risk doctor wasn't trying to see me like that. The world kind of basically was at a standstill at this point because nobody really knew what the hell was going on. So, fast forwarding to, because I wasn't really sick in the second trimester, so there's nothing really to share. It was mainly the first and the third, and something else, which I will be sharing. So I was maybe 34, 35 weeks. The nurse practitioner that I was speaking about, the white lady, I didn't have an appointment with her because she didn't have any availability. So I was seeing a midwife at the office. I came in, the midwife made me go pee. She checked my blood, height and weight, and I thought it was weird because I was just like, why are they doing all this? Like, I never had this done before. Like, usually it's get in, get out. That's what I was used to. So I thought it was normal. And then she came in the room, checked the baby's heartbeat, and she basically looked at me. She was like, Miss Samuel, are you aware that you're anemic? I was like, no, nobody ever told me that before. Like, people joked around with me and told me I was anemic because, I would always be cold, but during the pregnancy I had hot flashes. I'm not gonna lie, those hot flashes, woo, I was so glad I was not pregnant in the summer because them hot flashes used to kick my ass. And I was pregnant in the winter. But she was like, yeah, are you aware that you're anemic? I was like, no, nobody ever, told me. And she was just like, you're extremely anemic. And I was just like, well, how extreme are we talking? She was like, if you were to give birth, mind you make it to 40 weeks to give birth. I'm like 34, 35, so I'm almost there. She was like, if you were to give birth right now or at 40 weeks and we don't get this situation rectified, you are going to die. She just straight up told me like that, you're going to die while giving childbirth. I was like, whoa, like, what do you mean? Like, it registered to me that she said, I'm gonna die. She was just like, yeah, you're gonna die. You don't have enough blood. She was like, if you push out that baby, you're not gonna have enough blood to survive. That day, I promise you, I never cried so much. Like, boo-hoo cried. It's not everything. Like, I cried. Like, I was just like, wow. It was kind of like almost making it to the finish line and then them telling you, you didn't win. Like, you didn't win the first prize trophy. That's how I felt. So I called my mom. I called my mom in tears because my mom and I stay like 3-4 hours away from each other. So, I'm up here. I don't really have family up here. It's just, I have 2 cousins, but they stay far too. It's like a 2-hour drive, but still, like, I wanted the comfort of my mother. And she was pissed. She was angry. She was just like, she told you what? I was like, yeah, but that's what she told me. She was like, I don't have enough blood to push out this baby. I might hemorrhage when giving childbirth. And she said, I'm going to die. My mom was pissed. She was like, how did they not catch this, sooner? Like, how did they not know, like, you were missing blood? I was like, Mom, I don't know. Like, and she started asking questions, and that's when I kind of told her, like, well, when I go to my appointments, they never checked for anything. They just make sure the baby's heartbeat was fine, and they sent me on my way. And my mom was pissed. She was pissed. She was angry. She told my dad. He was pissed. He was angry. I told family members. They were just, like, upset. They were just upset. Like, there was no other way to put it. So, like I said before, my best friend was pregnant around the same time, and I was telling her, she was like, no, Sam, they were supposed to, she was like, that's not normal at all. I'm thinking it's normal. And she was just like, nah, they fucked me up. They screwed me over. So here I am, big pregnant, a wreck. Mind you, I already suffer from anxiety. And while I was pregnant, for a good chunk of my pregnancy, I was depressed. And my anxiety was through the roof. Like I said, my emotions I wear them on my sleeve. So I was just a mess. And I was seeing a therapist, a psychologist at the time as well. And she didn't want to prescribe me on medication, which I didn't want to take neither because I was pregnant. I didn't even take Tylenol. I was like, I didn't want to take anything that I knew that could harm my baby, potentially make me miscarry. I didn't do that. I just suffered through the pain, everything. Like I try to do like natural things like tea, like, you know, ginger tea and stuff like that I would do. But like medications, I wasn't doing it. So that was another cause. So like I'm just a mess. And my mom was just like, we're coming to get you. She was like, we're just coming to get you. And at that point, I made I wrote out a will. I'm not going to lie. I wrote out the will for my daughter to get everything that I had. I wanted her to get it. I took out life insurance on myself hella quick because I was like, if I don't get to see my child, I want her to have everything. I don't want her to want for nothing. So that was like the hardest decision I ever had to make. Like I feel a little emotional, I'm not gonna lie, because that was like a really emotional time for me. So my mom, my cousins, they came up and got me. Like when I say being pregnant, you need a great support system. When I say my support system, they were amazing. Like the support I got, I was just like, wow. Like I was surprised. I was just like, wow. I maybe had like the best support system ever. She has 2 sets of godparents. Both sets, amazing. They are so amazing. They're amazing. Her godparents, when I came down, they unpacked me and the baby's luggage because I was doing my maternity leave back home. They cleaned my entire room. My mom came up, my cousins came up. They packed everything. They were amazing. Like it was just amazing. And I wrote out the will. I took out the life insurance. I did everything, and I gave it to my mom. And I found a lawyer, gave it to a lawyer. I was just like, this is what I want to happen in case if I don't make it through childbirth. So that was that. So it's just basically the waiting game. So I'm like 39, 40 weeks. Mind you, I'm still 2 centimeters dilated. I ain't dilated since January. And like it's now May. It's my due date. I'll be back. My baby came down. Found a black doctor, thank God. Was still 2 centimeters dilated from January. It's May. I'm past my due date now. Still 2 centimeters dilated. So I had to get induction. I don't recommend anyone getting induced. It's terrible. Maybe because I had the bad experience, but I just wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend definitely waiting for your child to come. But I would not recommend for you to wait until your child to come and you're past your due date because you can only go 1 week past the due date. You don't want their umbilical cord to wrap around their neck. Right, mamas. So with past my due date, had to get induced. With getting induced, they gave me Pitocin, and they had to go in and pop my water bag. And my black doctor was in the middle of a C-section with someone else, so I had to deal with her white partner, and she was just fucking rough. I just didn't like her. She was just rough, and white people just really don't care about black women giving birth. That's just how I feel about it. White doctors. Like, it was just kind of like, well, let me tell you the story. So they gave me Pitocin, went in, popped my water bag. I got an epidural because we're thinking I'm going to push. No. So with the Pitocin, her heart was fluctuating and they couldn't give me an ultrasound. So they didn't know if it was an umbilical cord wrapped around her neck. So her heart was fluctuating because of the Pitocin, come to find out. It would go up, you would hear it, and then it would go down. And then when it went down, it stayed down to the point where they thought she died in there. They was just like, yeah, her heartbeat would stop, and then like they would, and I'm big, and I had like the heart monitor on, so they would have to move me around to see, and then once I moved, they'd be like, okay, it's beating again, and then it would go down. So the Indian nurse, she was amazing, love her. Indian nurses, they're the best. They actually care. She couldn't even leave the room because it was like as soon as she just like walked to the door, that heartbeat went down and she would run back in. And she was just like, no, we have to get your doctor in here because she was scared for me. And basically, the doctor came in and her heartbeat just completely stopped. And she was just like, we can mind you, we came in at 4 a.m. and it's COVID. So I had to get a COVID test, and I didn't want to take the COVID test because I was hearing horror stories about it. But there was like, if I didn't take the COVID test, they would assume I have it, and they would keep the baby away from me as soon as I gave birth, and we would be quarantined for 2 weeks, me in one room and the baby in another. So I wouldn't even see my child. I was like, fuck that. Come on, do the test. Yeah, mama. It was uncomfortable, but it wasn't like how people made it. Came in at 4 a.m. was that dilated at 2 centimeters. Then it was 3 p.m. and I was at 3 centimeters. I was not making no progress at all on the Pitocin. And her heartbeat was stopping. That's how you saw things? That's her perspective of things. So, doctor came in and she told me we can wait and see how things progress on the Pitocin. But there's a possibility the baby is going to die. And if she dies, I already signed the forms that I can't sue them. I was just like, what the fuck? I cried. I was like, so if it's not me, it's her? Like, no. So there was just like, I can do an emergency C-section. And I didn't want a C-section. But I was just like, fuck it. To save my child's life, I would do it all over again. I would definitely do it all over again. So we went into the emergency C-section. I was doped up. Doped up. I was cold. I was shivering. I was cold in there. I was like, I'm so cold. They had to put like a ton of warm blankets on me. And then I threw up. For some reason. I was like, I feel like I had to throw up. And they had to like put a little thing right here. And I was throwing up while they were literally cutting me. And she came. And, you know, when you're doing the C-section, they have like a little blue tarp. And they just kind of like swung her over so I could see. Like, hey. I was just like, I fell in love instantly. I cried. I cried. Because I was just like, oh my God. I made you. It was just like an accomplishment to me. I know a lot of people say having kids aren't an accomplishment. Well, to me it was. It was an accomplishment, and that was my prize. That was a priceless moment. And I wouldn't have changed it for the world. If I had to save her life by having a C-section, which I didn't want because, you know, being selfish, I didn't want the C-section scar or whatever. I don't care. I wanted to save my baby's life. I was like, yeah, it is what it is. I did call my mom when they told me that, and she was just like, I know she wanted to cry, but, you know, like, she's trying to comfort me, and she was just like, don't cry. And when I say, like, my support system was great after I had the baby, I couldn't hold her because I had a really bad reaction I was really doped up. I think it was to morphine because my mom said she has the same reaction. Like, I was just shaking. Like, I was so scared to hold her because I didn't want her to fall. After we got in the room, like I said, my support systems, they were so, so amazing. Them niggas called me on a group FaceTime talking about some, you had her. And I'm just like, what is wrong with you guys? Yeah, I had her. Like, my support systems were great. I did lose one last year on Christmas. He is my baby's uncle. He is my baby's uncle. We buried him early this year, and so I may be a little down, a little emotional, but he was one of the greatest people during the pregnancy. And I'm glad he did get to meet her before, you know, he gained his wings, so that was great. But definitely, when you're pregnant, a support system, right, mamas, is the most important thing. It's really, really important. Because for like I said earlier, like a greater chunk of the pregnancy, I was depressed. And I had really bad anxiety. And I wasn't depressed because I was pregnant. I was happy. I was happy that I was pregnant. I was happy that I was having my daughter. I just had doubts, worries about being a good mother. What if she likes me? Feeding her, cleaning her. It was more so, I'm not responsible for me anymore. I have to think for me and my baby. I have to think, if I do this now, is this going to affect her in the future? So, I had lots of worries about that. And I was just scared because I was like, what if we don't have a good relationship? Because, my mom was mean growing up. So, I didn't want to have that same relationship with my daughter. Mind you, when I got pregnant, me and my mom's relationship, she's a godsend. Love her. I always love my mom, but it's gotten better, and I'm so grateful for it. She's a great grandmother. She spoils the baby. Like, love it. So, I just had those worries, like, am I going to be able to be a good mother? And a lot of my friends just will randomly tell me, like, you a good mom. Like, you're a great mom. Like, you're a badass mom. And it I don't need the validation, but it feels good to hear it. And I'm just grateful to be alive, honestly, because I did think I was gonna die and I wasn't going to be able to see my daughter grow up. I wasn't gonna be able to see her graduate high school, go to prom, get married, have kids, go to college, you know. So I had all those doubts and worries. Now that she's here, that's my little best friend. That's my little rich best friend. Because listen, as long as mom's alive, as long as I'm alive, she not gonna want for nothing. As long as there's breath in my body, I will give 110% to my child. So that's really about it. I did want to address, like, Black doctors actually care more, because my Black doctor did come in afterwards and she did apologize that she was in another C-section and she wanted to know how everything went, and she was worried about my blood as well. But my blood did kind of like go up from when I was originally to where I was staying to when I went down back to my mom's house, because my mom was feeding me like iron-filled foods to make sure my blood would be, you know, sufficient. And then she did give me iron pills, the doctor, because mind you, when the white doctor told me I was gonna die, she didn't offer any solution. It was just, you're gonna die and that's it. She didn't offer, like, you know, when I found out from my best friend, you can do infusions, the iron pills, like, they didn't offer me any of that. So I just kind of felt like, you know. And then from the high-risk doctor they sent me to, who was trying to push for the abortion, they didn't really care about my anemia. I was just like, yeah, white doctors ain't it. And I'm all about supporting Black businesses, anybody who knows me. So, you know, if anybody has any questions, because I know I have a couple of friends that are pregnant, they've been reaching out to me to ask. I'm more than an open book to share. I kind of condensed everything, and I know the video is going to be kind of long, but I kind of really condensed everything, like the main points, so people can, you know, see and understand. Any questions, comments, concerns, you can always message me. For the ones who have my phone number, you can call me, DM me on Instagram. So I am going to try to return more with my videos this year. It's my savage year. I'm going to try to be on my shit this year, do my YouTube videos, be back on it. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate the love, the subscribers that I do have, the new subscribers I hope to get. Everyone, you know, welcome to my page, and we will see each other. I'm probably going to be posting a video sometime this week. I don't know what it's going to be about. I don't know if I'm still going to be doing the advice blog. Well, I am still going to be doing that. I'm just going to be doing everything at this point. It's just going to be basically, I'm just going to be unrealistically, like, I'm not hiding it this year. So, Sky, say bye. She's making all that noise and now she doesn't want to say bye.